Chicago rapper Lil Durk is being held without bond. He was arrested in a murder-for-hire plot.
Murder a rival rapper in Los Angeles in 2022, but the shooters missed their intended target and killed someone else.
Investigators are saying the shooting was aimed at Quando Rondo. Rondo's cousin was killed instead.
Video from the scene appears to show Quando Rondo distraught while first responders moved the body.
Everyone was stunned by what they found, and Lil Durk's vehicles feuds have always played a major factor in the hip-hop industry. Celebrity and controversy aside, this tale is on a whole other level. Lil Durk, one of the most well-known figures in the game, is embroiled in a series of accusations that seem to have been lifted from a Hollywood thriller, complete with covert meetings and heartbreaking turns that rocked entire communities, and what's coming to light now has the potential to alter everything we believe to be true about him in the music business. However, the catch is that this isn't just about music, it's also about loyalty, treachery, and the thin line separating reality from the art that depicts it. Stay locked in because we're getting into the whole unvarnished story. We've learned that the victim of a deadly shooting near the Beverly Center is a friend of rapper Quando Rondo. According to the LAPD, the victim was ambushed by 3 men while getting gas on. Friday, video from the scene appears to show Quando Rondo distraught as first responders move the body. Thus far, no arrests have been made. This is a story that could completely change the rules of hip-hop as we know it. You won't want to miss a second of it. 2 vehicles, a white BMW and an Infiniti sedan, had been rented with malicious intent. Their license plates were forged, but their goal was obvious. They were at the heart of a conspiracy connected to Lil Durk's OTF group. According to the feds, plane tickets, rental cars, and other items were bought and rented using OTF cards, and these vehicles weren't just a way to transportation, but tools in a sinister and terrifying plan to target Quando Rondo, a rapper involved in a high-stakes feud. What initially appeared to be a flawless plan soon started to fall apart, with a single mistake, a credit card linked directly to the OTF group, becoming the lone detail that law enforcement needed to dismantle the entire operation. A relentless pursuit for Quando began with the events that transpired in Los Angeles, California on August 18, 2022. Rondo, the city's bustling streets, masked an ominous presence. Unbeknownst to him, his every move was being shadowed by a crew from OTF. Say the apparent target of this deadly gunfire, a rapper from the Atlanta area. They say a pretty well-known rapper too in this area, along with a second person in his black Cadillac Escalade. Surveillance cameras in various locations captured their precision as they tracked Rondo's black SUV from a dispensary on Flower Street to a boutique on Melrose Avenue. The OTF crew moved with calculated intent. The white BMW and Infiniti trailed silently, with their drivers and passengers constantly communicating every turn and every stop. Nothing was left to chance. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision, but an intricate plan allegedly set into motion as a form of retaliation for the 2020 killing of King Von, a close associate of Lil Durk and a member of the OTF family. King Von's death had not only left a gaping hole in their ranks, but also ignited a deep-seated animosity between opposing factions in the complex world of drill music, where lyrics often reflect real-life rivalries. Despite the crew's careful preparation, these tensions boiled up until they erupted into the events of that fateful day. Although Rondo survived the attack, his cousin Lil Durk, whose real name was Salva Robinson, was not as fortunate. The two stopped at a gas station where the attacker opened fire in a vicious ambush, killing Lup, who had just finished pumping gas. The attack was obviously planned and coordinated, and the attackers' faces were hidden behind ski masks as they quickly fled in the rented white vehicles, convinced they had completed their mission. The atmosphere was one of grim celebrations. While the attackers celebrated, the wheels of justice were already in motion as the FBI and local law enforcement agencies started to piece together the puzzle, making connections that would soon implicate Lil Durk's OTF group. The attackers met again at a hamburger restaurant in Los Angeles County to discuss the success of their operation. Court documents would later reveal chilling details of this meeting, including payments promised to certain participants for their role in the attack. Conversations were recorded and traced, leaving behind a digital footprint that investigators would later use to build their case. Every detail of the attack, including the rented cars, the phony license plates, and even the masks used, was painstakingly documented. This evidence pointed to a well-planned operation for Quando Rondo, and the ordeal served as a terrifying reminder of the risks associated with fame and notoriety in the rap industry. The attack left him not only mourning the loss of his cousin, but also struggling with the harsh reality of being a marked man. In Rondo, they cried out in shock as responding officers recorded a desperate and emotional moment in which Lup's lifeless body was removed from the scene. This scene would later be immortalized in a diss track by Lil Durk, a move that many saw as going too far even in the controversial world of rap feuds. The diss track referenced Rondo's agonized cries. Received a lot of criticism. Some regarded it as a frightening effort to capitalize on sorrow, while others saw it as an artistic display of domination. feuds. In the realm of drill music, where authenticity is often linked with street credibility, the song's references to the TV video of Rondo's response not only fueled the existing dispute but also unwelcomely highlighted Lil Durk. As investigators delved deeper into the case surrounding Lil Durk and the OTF Only the Family crew, a crucial and unexpected development came to light. An informant within the group, referred to in court documents as Conspirator 2. This individual had been cooperating with federal authorities for an extended period and had once been a trusted member of Durk's inner circle. The betrayal was a shocking blow to the OTF crew, providing law enforcement with unprecedented insight into the group's operations, including intricate details of a violent attack and the subsequent cover-up efforts. This revelation marked a pivotal turning point in the investigation, which culminated in a series of significant events. On October 24, 2024, law enforcement carried out a coordinated operation that led to the arrests of several key suspects in Chicago. These efforts resulted in a grand jury indictment containing 4 serious charges, including conspiracy to commit murder and the use of firearms in the furtherance of a crime. The case was beginning to unfold with shocking revelations, and the OTF organization, once viewed as a tight-knit and untouchable crew, found itself facing federal scrutiny. Among those named in the indictment was Lil Durk himself. Federal authorities revealed that the rapper, desperate to avoid capture, had attempted to flee the country by booking multiple international flights to destinations as far-flung as Dubai and Switzerland. However, his elaborate escape plan was thwarted at the last moment. Federal agents intercepted Durk at Miami International Airport just an hour before his scheduled departure, preventing him from evading justice. The situation quickly escalated as Durk faced serious allegations of orchestrating the attack on his rival and allegedly placing bounties on the rival's head. The charges against Lil Durk were severe, and if proven true, they could result in life-altering consequences, including a possible life sentence. Prosecutors painted a damning portrait of Durk as a figure who used his considerable influence and power to control his inner circle, promising money and opportunities in exchange for loyalty and criminal activity. According to the indictment, the OTF group functioned with an organizational structure similar to that of a criminal enterprise operating outside the boundaries of the law, and Durk's leadership played a central role in orchestrating these illegal activities. The ramifications of the case were felt far beyond the courtroom. Lil Durk, once celebrated as a prominent voice of the streets and a beloved figure in the rap community, now found himself at the center of a high-profile criminal investigation. His public image, carefully cultivated over the years, began to unravel as details of the case emerged. Fans, many of whom had idolized him for his authenticity and street credibility, now found themselves questioning the rapper's true character. The stakes were high, and the pressure on Durk and his associates was mounting with every passing day. Locally, the consequences of the investigation were swift and far-reaching. In Broadview, Illinois, where Durk had once received honorary recognition for his contributions to the community, the reverberations were immediate. Following the indictment and the growing controversy surrounding his actions, the local authorities moved quickly to distance themselves from the rapper. The honorary awards previously bestowed upon Durk were revoked, and a sign commemorating his community service was taken down. The decision was framed as a necessary move to uphold moral standards and demonstrate a commitment to the integrity of the community. Meanwhile, the public response was divided. On social media, a range of hashtags emerged, with some fans fervently rallying behind Durk, using phrases like "Free Durk" and "Number Free," showing their unwavering support for the rapper despite the allegations. Others, however, expressed disappointment and disbelief, struggling to reconcile the image of the man they had once admired with the serious charges now levied against him. The online debate became a reflection of the broader conflict within the rap community, as supporters and detractors alike weighed in on Durk's future and his legacy. As the legal proceedings continued to unfold, the future of Lil Durk and his OTF crew remained uncertain. The case served as a stark reminder of the complex and sometimes dangerous world in which rap artists operate, where loyalty, betrayal, and criminal activity often intersect. For Durk, the stakes had never been higher, and the outcome of the case would have profound implications for his career, his reputation, and his freedom. Lil Durk, with his fans standing up for him, protests for these fans sprang out in unexpected locations, including internet forums around Asia and the streets of Ghana. In addition to being a rapper, Lil Durk was a representation of tenacity and drive, but for his detractors, the accusations were long overdue. As the court struggle rages, justice must be served for a man who had conflated art with actual violence. The allegations against Lil Durk serve as a sobering reminder of the repercussions of the decisions he makes, and his future is still unknown. This case serves as a warning about the consequences of unsolved feuds and the fine line between crime and narrative in the midst of fierce competition for the rap business. If the clerk comes out of this experience, whether he was found not guilty or not, it is certain that the events of August 18, 2022 changed the course of his career and the legacy he leaves for Quizzo Rondo. The events at the Beverly petrol station on that tragic. In a moment caught on tape by police enforcement and TV cameras, Rondo's agony was evident as his cousin LPB lay terminally wounded after being assaulted by masked gunmen on an Onyx evening that was nothing short of a nightmare come true. While his cousin's death left a permanent scar, Rondo's cries of anguish reverberated throughout the public consciousness, turning him from a victim of violence to a symbol of its devastating effects. The aftermath took a turn that Rondo himself could not have predicted in the fiercely competitive and frequently harsh world of drill music. Tragedies like these are often weaved into the stories that define artists' careers, but Lil Durk's diss track about Rondo's very public sadness in reaction to the gas station shooting was nothing short of explosive. Durk blurred the already thin boundary between art as a mirror of life and art as a weapon of provocation. For some, the song's scathing lyrics that made fun of Rondo's cries of no constituted a cultural flashpoint. For others, it demonstrated the unvarnished honesty and unadulterated passion that characterized drill music. It was unethical to use trauma for financial advantage. While the diss track agitated the public behind the scenes, both fans and critics argued about whether Durk's decision to immortalize such a traumatic event was a sign of his sincerity or a self-inflicted mistake that may haunt him legally and socially. The FBI's investigation into the incident revealed considerably more than the anticipated breadcrumbs amid the startling revelations, and Durk's difficulties were growing. Disclosures was the existence of a senior informant on the OTF team who was named as Conspirator 2 in court records. For a group that took pride in loyalty, this betrayal struck at the core of its operations, exposing vulnerabilities they hadn't anticipated. The evidence provided by the informant painted a detailed and damning picture of the alleged criminal activities tied to OTF. It revealed intricate plans. This insider had spent years developing a rapport with Durk and his closest allies. He wasn't just a passive observer, he actively participated in their activities while also providing law enforcement with vital information. Concealed money exchanges and the covert use of Durk's music to conceal darker activities. The indictment detailed how Durk allegedly ordered his team, rewarding those who followed his orders with money and job possibilities. These revelations turned what had been conjecture into an unavoidable legal catastrophe. Among the accusations was murder for hire plot to commit murder and charges using firearms, each of which carries a life sentence or even worse. As legal issues loomed, the lasting effects of King Von's death and its connections to the conflict with Quando were another aspect of the plot that required addressing. Lil Durk's close friend and rising star in the OTF family, Rondo King Val, was shot dead in 2020 during a fight with members of Rondo's entourage. Surveillance footage of the incident, taken outside an Atlanta nightclub, showed Val fighting with Rondo before chaos broke out. Shots were fired, leaving Von critically injured before he passed away, dealing a devastating blow to Durk and the OTF family. While it is debatable whether this influenced Durk's decisions, the timeline that developed in the years following Von's death suggests that revenge was a central motivator in the subsequent events, adding to the feud. V's death not only strained relationships but also increased animosity between opposing camps. Fans and the media both contributed to this by using hashtags like #slide for Von to dominate social media. These seemingly innocuous online campaigns put a great deal of pressure on Durk. Avenging Vol was not just expected but demanded. The stakes were even higher for Durk, who had built his career on a blend of street ethos and raw storytelling. His lyrics frequently alluded to loyalty, survival, and the consequences of betrayal, themes that struck a deep chord with his audience. But as the lines between reality and performance blurred, so did the distinction between Durk as an alleged orchestrator of violence and Durk as an artist. The narrative of revenge was the culture of drill music itself. In this genre, authenticity is king, and an artist's credibility frequently depends on their ability to support their lyrics with real-life incidents. As authorities discovered further connections to the assault on Quando, the case against Durk became increasingly complicated. The OTF team was able to identify the rental car's phony license plates and even the ski mask that was worn during the shooting. The case was based on concrete facts rather than merely circumstantial evidence, and insider testimony about Durk's purported attempt to leave the country further complicated his circumstances. Financial records showed payments connected to the operation, and surveillance footage located the suspects at key locations. Prosecutors said that the several tickets he had booked, including ones to Dubai, were the reason federal investigators stopped him at Miami International Airport mere hours before his planned departure on an international aircraft. The unsuccessful escape attempt in Switzerland and Italy not only strengthened the government's case but also cast doubt on Durk's faith in his legal defense as the legal proceedings against him intensified. The events had a ripple effect on both his personal and professional life. The village of Broadview, Illinois, where Durk had previously been given the symbolic key to the city, quickly revoked the gesture, citing the need to uphold ethical standards. This was a bitter pill to swallow for someone who had worked hard to establish himself as a positive force in his community. The public rejection was a bitter pill to swallow, but Durk's devoted following remained, launching the Free Durk movement, which organized protests in places as far away as Ghana and Asia. Beyond just being an artist, Durk served as a voice for those going through comparable hardships and a symbol of tenacity. Their steadfast assistance demonstrated his public image's duality, a person who was both admired and despised, but not everyone believed Durk was innocent. Critics, particularly controversial individuals like Charleston White, took advantage of the occasion to denounce him. White, who is well known for his candid criticism of the hip-hop business, expressed shock and dismay at Durk's situation, seeing it as an appropriate outcome for, as the legal battle progresses, it is evident that the stakes for Lil Durk could not be higher. His comments highlighted the divisive nature of Durk's situation, with opinions regarding his guilt or innocence sharply divided along lines of personal belief and cultural perspective. This is a battle to protect his legacy as much as it is to fight for freedom. His contributions to music and the culture he represents are threatening to be overshadowed by the claims against him, but they also highlight important issues like responsibility, influence, and the price of surviving in a society where survival and loyalty are often. This case serves as a warning to the hip-hop business, forcing us to consider the blurred lines between narrative and complicity, as well as between art and reality. It remains to be seen whether Durk comes out of this experience as the story of Lil Durk has evolved into one of complexity and contradiction, forcing us to examine the interplay of fame, power, and the fallout of unresolved conflicts within the world of contemporary hip-hop. His case has become a lens through which we must explore the broader dynamics of the music industry, particularly the impact of drill music, its depiction of violence, and the harsh realities of street life. For many, Durk's rise to fame was seen as a testament to resilience, as his lyrics often reflect the harsh realities of the streets. However, as his legal troubles unfold, questions arise about the true nature of his influence and whether he played a role beyond just the music, a figure who may have crossed the line from artist to alleged orchestrator of criminal activities. The controversy surrounding drill music has been long-standing. Critics have argued that it glorifies violence and perpetuates a destructive cycle, while others believe it provides a raw, unfiltered reflection of real-life struggles. Lil Durk, a prominent figure in the drill scene, has faced these critiques head-on. His music is a constant battle between the glorification of violence and its denunciation, a complicated reflection of his community's suffering, survival, and the temptation to rise above it. Durk's lyrics, rich with references to personal struggles and street wars, have resonated deeply with fans who see him as a voice for the marginalized. But as his legal case grows, it's becoming clear that Durk's involvement in the violence he once rapped about may have been more than just a lyrical construct. As the prosecution builds its case, the complexities surrounding Durk's alleged criminal activities begin to unfold in the courtroom. Prosecutors have presented a wealth of evidence linking him to multiple illicit schemes, painting a picture of a man who used his position as a prominent artist to orchestrate acts of violence and maintain control over his crew, the OTF, only the family organization. The heart of their argument lies in the claim that Lil Durk was not merely an artist but a leader of a criminal enterprise. This narrative suggests that Durk's role in OTF extended far beyond music, involving calculated criminal activities that included the placement of bounties on rivals' actions designed not only to protect the group's interests but also to send a clear message of dominance within the violent world that Durk and his crew operated in. The bounties, prosecutors argue, were not impulsive or based on fleeting grudges. They were part of a carefully executed strategy to maintain power and control. These were high-stakes decisions made with a ruthless focus on preserving the influence of OTF. The court documents reveal that Durk's influence within OTF was profound, his power extending far beyond the typical role of an artist. He was described as a figure who offered tangible rewards to those who carried out his alleged commands. These rewards were not limited to financial gain, but also included access to high-value gifts, connections, and most importantly, opportunities to advance in the highly competitive world of drill music. For many young, aspiring artists trying to make their mark in the music industry, the opportunities Durk presented were not just attractive, they were essential for survival. His connections to major record labels, access to recording studios, and ability to secure high-profile features were significant advantages in a world where success often depends on who you know rather than just talent. The loyalty Durk commanded in his inner circle was therefore a mix of fear and devotion, underpinned by the promise of upward mobility in a cutthroat industry. One of the most devastating pieces of evidence against Durk came from former affiliates who had once been part of his inner circle. These individuals, who had previously enjoyed the perks of being close to the rapper, turned on him, providing crucial testimony about the inner workings of OTF. They painted a disturbing picture of how the organization allegedly functioned, describing it as a well-organized and highly structured entity where loyalty was not only expected but demanded. The witnesses testified that any form of disloyalty was swiftly punished, creating an environment where fear was as much a driving force as the rewards Durk offered. They claimed that Durk himself personally approved of violent actions, giving clear directives to his associates and even funding the logistics of these activities, including the purchasing of firearms and other supplies. The prosecution's case was bolstered further by the revelation of an informant within the OTF organization, referred to in court documents as Conspirator 2. This individual, once trusted within the group, had turned state's witness and provided crucial inside information. By gaining Durk's confidence, this informant was able to gather critical details about how OTF operated, how it communicated with other criminal organizations, and, most importantly, how it collaborated with law enforcement. The informant's testimony helped link Durk directly to the orchestrated violence and offered a glimpse into the ruthless tactics OTF allegedly employed to maintain its power and control. The stakes of this case extend far beyond Lil Durk's personal freedom. It has become a flashpoint for debates about the relationship between hip-hop culture and violence. Drill music, which has often been at the center of the controversy, is now scrutinized through the lens of criminal activity. Critics argue that the genre not only reflects the violence of urban communities, but also encourages it, providing a platform for criminal behavior to thrive. On the other hand, supporters of drill music maintain that it is an outlet for the voiceless, an expression of the hardships faced by young people in marginalized communities. Durk's case highlights this tension, showing how the very things that made him a star, his authenticity, his connection to the streets, and his unflinching portrayal of hardship, have now become the sources of his legal peril. As the trial continues, the question of whether Lil Durk will be convicted of the charges against him looms large. The evidence is mounting and the stakes could not be higher. In addition to fighting for his freedom, Durk must confront his complicated legacy as an artist and alleged criminal leader. In the court of public opinion, the rapper's story has become a cautionary tale, forcing fans and critics alike to reconsider the blurred lines between art and reality in hip-hop culture. Will Lil Durk emerge as a figure of salvation, a symbol of redemption, or will he be a warning to others who navigate the dangerous waters of fame and street life? Only time will tell. Enforcement played a crucial role in resolving the circumstances surrounding the assault on Quando Rondo and the killing of Lou Hobb. It was alleged that Conspirator 2 had access to intricate money transactions, talks, and plans that connected the group and therefore Durk to these crimes. They disclosed how members were recruited, instructed, and assigned to accomplish the group's goals, often while claiming to be safeguarding their collective interest. Prosecutors also examined financial documents that showed a series of transactions purportedly connected to OTF's operations. These documents included payments for travel, guns, and automobile rentals. In particular, they linked the rental of the white BMW and Infiniti cars used in the shooting to an OTF-linked credit card, bolstering their claim that Durk knew and approved of the group's operations. The lyrics of Lil Durk's songs, which are frequently hailed as unvarnished and genuine depictions of his life and surroundings, were also closely examined in court. Prosecutors contended that his song had two functions. It was a means of communication within his circle and a creative outlet. They specifically cited lines in his diss tracks that appeared to allude to actual events, such as the attack on Quando Rondo, such as "Told Me They Got an Addy Go" and "Green Light Go" as potential coded messages that further conflate artistic expression with practical intent. The courtroom prosecutor said that the artist's empire was maintained by a culture of fear, allegiance, and meticulously planned violence rather than being based solely on skill and hard work, as shown by Revelations. Despite these defenses, the testimony of former affiliates carried significant weight. They detailed instances where Lil Durk allegedly ordered hits on rivals, including Quando Rondo, and provided resources to ensure these orders were carried out. One witness described how payments were distributed after successful missions, further supporting the prosecution's claim that financial rewards were a key motivator for those involved. Lil Durk's defense, which focused on the lack of direct evidence linking him personally to the acts in question, argued that while his association with OTF was undeniable, it was unfair to hold him responsible for the actions of others within the group. The court was also informed of the wider ramifications of OTF's purported actions. In their testimony, law enforcement officers described the history of violence associated with the gang, implying that its activities were a component of a wider cycle of territorial conflicts and vengeance.